Hey, folks, welcome back to another episode of the McKinney Podcast, where we celebrate what makes us unique by nature. Fred and I are so pleased to get another block started off. I love these block recording days, man.
Yes.
How are you feeling, Fred? You had a good week? You had a good month?
You know, so it is officially like past the first week in July, and we finally hit like legitimate Texas July temperatures. Because we've had rain. It's been so nice and easy that I forgot that we were living in Texas until yesterday when the real feel was triple digits. And I was like, So aside from the heat, you know, I'm glad that the rain is done, but I actually kind of want the rain back now. Is that weird?
I'm going to be honest. This time of year, I wish I didn't live in Texas. July and August is miserable. The rest of the year, I don't mind it, except when we have like plagues of Egypt falling from the sky with hailstones as big as your face. But yeah.
Or crickets as big as your face. Right?
I mean, anybody out there listening probably feels like we do. It's like, well, wait a second. This summer's been pretty nice.
That's right.
And I mean, we spent most of June in the 80s, low 90s. I'm like,
yes,
I could get used to this.
Yes.
But yeah, here now it's back to normal.
That's right.
So
we love air conditioning.
So this episode, we'd love to welcome this lovely lady sitting here next to us. She is Dr. Stephanie Robinson, newly minted Executive Director of Volunteer McKinney. Dr. Stephanie, thanks for being with us today.
Thank you for having me. And I cannot tell you how excited I am. I've heard some of you guys' podcasts and your work, and it's absolutely amazing. So thank you for having me.
And you still agreed to come on even after you heard our other stuff?
I did. It was awesome. That actually psyched me up even more because it was so good. Thank you for having me. Happy to be here.
You know, it is such a privilege to do what we do because it really just comes down to a love for this city and a recognition that most of our citizens, our neighbors, don't have any idea of all the good things that happen in McKinney. Right. You know, one of the things that when I describe this podcast, it's like, well, what do you guys talk about? Interesting people doing interesting things. We want to celebrate the wins and increase awareness, talk about important issues because they're not all wins. A lot of things, they're pretty big, hairy challenges.
Yeah.
You know, when you got 220,000 people living in a city together, you know, you're going to have tens of thousands of people that aren't plugged in, that aren't engaged, that don't really have any idea what's happening in their city.
True.
And that's why we do this.
Very true.
Most of the people out there in just normal McKinney land have no idea that Volunteer McKinney even exists.
That is very true.
So
that is very true.
Here we are.
Here we are.
So we got a normal flow of things in these episodes. We'd like to hear from the guest first. Your backstory, the previous chapters of your life that brought you here. Talk about family, talk about hobbies, other interests, past elements of your career, whatever you want. As Fred likes to say, go ahead and hit him with that first.
Okay, so the biggest question is, when your feet first touched the earth, was it Texas soil?
No, it was Oklahoma soil.
Well, we call that North.
Close enough.
North
Is that
Texas.
close enough?
That's North
Is
Texas.
that close enough?
That's
Okay,
North Texas.
Quasi.
Okay.
It's Texas adjacent.
That's right.
Yes, I like that. And that's very kind of you because most Texans will say Oklahoma. So so I appreciate the acceptance. But no, so I am originally from Oklahoma, from Tulsa.
Okay.
Born and raised. And then I ended up coming to the Texas area, Dallas-Fort Worth area for college. And so I transferred up here and went to University of North Texas many, many years ago.
Go Mean Green.
That's right.
No. You, North Texas alum?
No, I'm representing.
That's right.
That's the hand sign, right?
Thanks for the
like the little falcon claws or whatever.
Yeah, we'll take that. Yeah, we'll take that.
Close enough.
Close enough.
Go Mean Green.
Go Mean Green.
It's an eagle or is it a falcon? What is it?
It is an eagle.
It's a bird. It's all
It's a bird. Yeah, we'll just call it the bird.
It's a raptor.
That's
It's a category of bird.
That's right.
Falcon, hawk,
predatory,
osprey.
top of the food
They're all-
chain.
Yeah.
Top of the food chain.
It's one of those things that just soar.
So North
and make us
Texas.
So I started off in North Texas. That's how I got to Texas. And so my undergrad was in entrepreneurship, which I loved. Okay, crazy story even before that. I remember career days like back in first grade in school when they would say, "What do you want to do when you're going to grow up?" I didn't even know how to spell entrepreneurship, but I knew I wanted to be an entrepreneur even that early, like really super crazy stuff. So anyway, I got to Texas, graduated or got my degree in entrepreneurship from UNT. Immediately launched a company after that back in 2006 in the healthcare field. And so I ran a company that focused on disability services, which in itself is the most amazing, rewarding, God-sent piece of my life by far. Changed everything for me. So my business partner and I started that business in 2006. Originally, we were in it to just do medical equipment for people who needed it type thing. But what we started to realize is that there are a lot of people in the Texas area with severe disabilities, spinal cord injuries, brain injuries, those types of things. Not just the aging population, which is what we started off servicing, but people with severe disabilities that were our age. I mean, that had kids and spouses and, just happened to get into car accidents or a bad situation that caused them to be disabled. And so as the company grew from 2006, and it's still in existence today, I sold my share in 2022. But as it continued to grow, we really started focusing on the full spectrum of taking people from where they are today with their disability to where they want to be. So we became family to them, the caseworkers for them, the people that were their advocates. So that's where the business piece came in, my entrepreneurship piece came in. I mean, I spent the vast majority of my career in disability services and helping kiddos, even in high school, transition from whatever they were struggling with in high school with different types of disabilities, working with staff in the school districts to get them where they wanted to be, whether it was vocational school, college, in the job force, whatever. We were providing the necessary tools, resources, and training to help them get there. And so super rewarding. I even remember when I first launched the business, for a long time, I would cry on my way to work, driving to work, because I was like, man, this is so cool. Like, you're waking up every day serving people and truly giving all you've got to try to help people that need you. And so that it was very fulfilling. It was very fulfilling, very service-based, and I absolutely loved it. So then I lost my mind and I said, after COVID, I was like, well, not even after COVID, actually, it was right around COVID, right before. I said, maybe I should go back to school. Went back to grad school at that age. Like, okay.
Back to UNT?
Yeah, back to UNT. Okay. Yeah. So
Can I say go mean green again?
You can say go mean green again.
Okay,
I think it's totally appropriate.
Next round, you got to say go mean green again.
You absolutely do. So we got to be ready. Yeah. And I love the green shoes because we're representing not just the podcast, but I think you guys did that.
I feel like these are UNT
green.
shoes.
Okay. I think it is. And the whole decor is all green.
These shoes identify as North Texas.
It does.
There you go.
It does.
Hold that up in front of the camera.
It does. It does. And I love it. I love it. Okay, UNT plug. We should be more creative. Just kidding. Okay, so yes. So after having this long entrepreneurial business career that I loved, I ended up going back to school for my master's at that point. And so I got my master's in learning technologies from UNT. And then I did the accelerated program because I was like, I just want to get my doctor's, just get it out of the way. So I went all the way through from the master's and then to the doctor's program, and then graduated this past spring as a PhD in learning technologies, which was really pretty cool because it allowed me to still do work for others. So with learning technologies, obviously it's a field of education. And how do we bring educational material to people who learn differently? That's my approach to it.
Yep.
Now with learning technologies, people have that degree and they take it in so many different areas, so many different avenues. But for me, it was more of how do I bring learning, how do I bring the experience of learning and make it more accessible for all people?
Yep.
Whether you learn differently, you read differently, whatever it is, physical disability, whatever. And so it still kind of allowed me to serve in that area. Through that journey, I ended up partnering with Texas Christian University, TCU in Fort Worth, and their entrepreneurship program, their Neely School of Business, which is an amazing program.
Which also is the same hand sign, right?
Yes.
Go Frogs.
So go Frogs, right?
I'm sorry I said that, Allison. I didn't mean it. Sick 'em Bears. Yeah, sorry. It feels weird to say go Frogs.
Yeah.
My best friend is a graduate of the TCU's criminology master's program.
Nice.
He's actually an adjunct professor at TCU.
Oh,
he and I have a friendly rivalry because he's all about the go Frogs, and my wife's from Baylor, and my father-in-law was a vice president at Baylor. So like I'm programmed to say sick 'em Bears. So when my hand starts to curve into the little horned frog hand side, I almost like my left hand tries to slap it. It's like, stop that.
Balance that, especially during the holidays.
Yeah.
Maybe
But hey, as far as this interview goes, go Frogs.
Yes.
Out of respect for our guests.
Thank you. So we're a little bit of frogs. We're a little bit of eagles.
We got a little zoo going on here.
I know, right?
All the animals under God's creation.
It is a zoo.
There you go.
So
TCU,
entrepreneurship. So they brought me in as an adjunct professor to teach entrepreneurship. Awesome.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, I know, right? And so
Dr. Robinson.
Dr. Robinson
teaching entrepreneurship. That has a nice ring to it, doesn't it?
It does kind of sound good.
That's where you're like, ooh, I'm Dr. Robinson now. Okay.
I know, which is crazy because it still doesn't quite register.
So this is what, a year ago, right? 2024.
So actually, I started with TCU as an adjunct a couple years ago.
Okay.
And living here in McKinney for over 20 years, driving to Fort Worth, I was like,
that's like an hour and a half to TCU's campus.
Oh, honey, yes, hour and a half each way, easily, and don't let it be a car wreck because then you're in. Yeah. Yes. And so people thought I was crazy. Like, why on earth would you
I
do
also
that?
think you're a little crazy for driving like that.
Well, thank you for the honesty, but let me tell you why. So, first 2 weeks in the classroom as an adjunct professor, I fell in love with those kids. I mean, I was like, you've got to be kidding me. This is so good. This is like the best food, like a yummy dessert, right? It just felt so good. So after that, I kept driving for the last couple years and teaching these kiddos, and I didn't even feel it because I was so excited to go in there and pour into them and love on them. And so I didn't even feel the drive. So now I'm just in love with these kiddos at this point. So so adjunct professor, TCU, and then volunteer McKinney opportunity came about. And so once that came about, I saw it on social media, and I'm always looking for, okay, where can I serve? Where can I plug in to be able to make the best impact? And so I saw the volunteer McKinney opportunity and then reached out to them and said, hey, I would be interested. I live here in McKinney. I love what you guys are doing. You know, I would be interested in looking at partnering with you guys on this. And so long story short, they ended up bringing me on as the new executive director. And so that's where I landed there. I have been on the job maybe 2 weeks at this point.
Yeah.
Super, super new. And it's been extremely fast paced, a lot of information to digest. But at the end of the day, the work that they have done in the past and the work that they are doing is incredible.
Yeah, it really is.
It is absolutely incredible. And truthfully, I prayed about it before it was even a posted opportunity. Like I said, God, put me where you want me to be, wherever it is. Yeah. I'm open to serve wherever you put me. And this is where he put me. And it was interesting because it caught my attention because it was a mixture between one, serving, obviously, through the volunteerism piece, connecting the volunteers to the nonprofits. And then the other piece was education, which is where my heart was anyway. And so with those two pillars of what we do in our mission, I was like, okay, maybe, let's talk about it and see if it works. And if it works, awesome. I'm going to give it my all. So that's what got me there.
I think it's really interesting, the continuity. Because let me just say off the bat, I'm not interested in talking about internal politics, dirty laundry, any of that stuff. That's outside the scope of this conversation.
Oh, yeah.
Allison Monroe, the previous executive director, also comes from an educational technology background. And I love her. She's a wonderful human. And just the work that she did when she was at the helm of the organization took it stratosphere. Wonderful stuff.
Absolutely.
So for you to come in with your background, also in educational technology, and what you just shared about all of your kind of leading up to this point, I think it's really cool for the vision, the mission of Volunteer McKinney to be able to benefit from that kind of continuity of leadership.
I agree.
I don't know how familiar you are with Allison, whatever. She's a McKinney gal as well.
Oh, yeah.
But that kind of background is so useful.
It is
for the mission.
It is. It is. And that is what I've seen. I have not had a chance to meet the Allison or Wendy, who was our interim.
Yeah.
But I will tell you, just from what I've learned and just being in there and the work that I've seen that they've done already, because I've seen some of the things that they, especially Allison, because she was with them a couple years. I have big shoes to fill.
Mm-hmm.
These are women that they were serving the city of McKinney before Volunteer McKinney.
And continue to. After Volunteer
even
McKinney.
After.
Yeah.
And so that, I think, is extremely telling because they're in it for the right reason, which is to serve our community.
Yeah.
And so I have big shoes to fill. I do. And I look forward to meeting them at some point. But I knew right in, I coming in, I had big shoes to fill.
Yeah.
Because Volunteer McKinney didn't just start yesterday. I mean, these are the types of women, and even on our board collectively, and then our community, the nonprofits that's tied into us. These people were running Volunteer McKinney way before me and doing an excellent job and have gotten it to where it is today. And so all due respect to that. And I hope I can hold the torch next and do well. And continue to grow in the area that they've already set the tone for. But yeah, big shoes to fill for sure.
Well, that's the perfect reply. And so kind.
And it's genuine. I mean, I truly mean that.
Yeah. And it was so hard for me to be on the sidelines for all of that, because all I'm looking at is the mission of the organization is like, can we just get back to the mission, the work that the organization exists for? I'm so glad, because lady, your energy is fantastic.
Oh, thank
you have such a warm look on your face. Your nonverbals are so positive and affirming. I'm just like, it's just encouraging. It's like, I like her instantly. Like you walked in and you high-fived me at the door, and I'm like, ooh, I got a high five at the door.
Because man, I'm so excited. You know, I'm so excited. Like not just about the podcast, but about what we can do.
You've got a cool job.
I do, right?
Full transparency. Fred's wife Elizabeth set up basically the whole summer. I did all the booking. I did all of the reaching out for basically the first year. This past spring was insane.
Yeah.
I have not been engaged with the booking for guests and whatnot. Elizabeth has taken the reins for a couple of months and was just like, it's a surprise to me when someone books on the calendar, because normally I'm talking to them ahead of time. I'm familiar with them. But Elizabeth has been doing the booking recently. Yeah. So I saw your name and I was just like, ooh.
Oh, that should be interesting. Yeah.
Oh, she literally just started.
Yes.
Started.
Yes.
And then I saw your name and there was like, oh, this is going to be good.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. I think it happened like within 24 hours, I think. It was like, okay, why don't you... we got an opening on this day. So it literally happened that fast on the booking.
Thank you, Elizabeth. We appreciate you.
Yes, Elizabeth is absolutely amazing. So yes, definitely appreciate her.
Okay, so you have accomplished many things, a lot of things.
Thank you.
In what feels to me like a relatively short period of time. And in spite of all these things, you still have just a genuine humility, and the fact that you have said big shoes to fill and falling in love with the students, stuff like that.
100%.
Where does this heart of service and humility come from?
Great question.
That is an amazing question. It comes from God.
Mm-hmm.
I'll tell you, God has brought me through so many things from day one. I mean, from childhood to adulthood to the list goes on. And, I always tell people, even when I started the first business in 2006, anything you do, and I tell my students this too in the classroom, anything you do, it should be bigger than yourself. For me personally, it has to be bigger than yourself. It has to serve a greater purpose. I'll give you an example. When we first started the business back in 2006, we made about $127 our first year. Okay?
Three digits.
3 digits.
3 digits.
3 digits. No joke. About $127 profit that year. I was a young mom with a baby at home. The time my husband and I were trying to figure out, okay, what in the world are we doing? Here's the thing. When you wake up every day and you do things that are bigger than yourself, the purpose has to be bigger than yourself, because that is what's going to push you to not give up and go even harder. for me, the purpose was to serve and to serve people that I saw needed a voice and needed to be helped. If I was just doing it for me, I would have said, $127 is not going to cut it. Let's go out and get a corporate job, right? Because that would have been self-fulfilling for me to make sure I had what I needed to take care of me. But I didn't do that because at the end of the day, the purpose was far greater than me. And so that is what kept me fighting. And even now, 20 years later, I live by the exact same thing. I never take an opportunity that I'm not in love with. I don't. I've never taken an opportunity, and God help me that I never have to, where I take it just for a paycheck or just because it fulfills my personal success goals. I've never in my life, I've been able to take opportunities that truly serve others. And when you approach it that way, I can work harder. I can work 7 days a week. I can get up at 4 a.m. and make drives across the state of Texas when people need me.
Yep.
I can push myself at a whole nother level when I know that when I wake up, it is not about Stephanie Robinson. It is about the people that depend on me and the people that I serve. So I've always lived by that. I've always tried to live by that, truly. And that's where the service comes from. I mean, throughout my career, even before my career, and even with Volunteer McKinney, when I came on there, it's either a heck yes or a heck no. It's no in between for me. So if I accept something, it's because my heart is all the way in it.
Yeah.
And not because I want a title, because I could care less about titles, quite honestly. It's about how many people can I help in this area? Can I make a difference? And so, so that's where the soul service thing comes from. Like, man, if it was about me, I would have been in a whole nother place in life right now. But honestly, it always has to be bigger than me.
Yeah, I love that. She's got that POP, that POP, that purpose over profit.
Well, thank you.
Look at that.
Just amazing.
So I got to ask your perspective on this because you have basically flipped from one side of the spectrum to the other. You were an entrepreneur for 17 years, if my math is correct. You sold your stake in that company in 2022. And now in this current chapter, you're a nonprofit ED girl.
I am.
The total opposite end of the job world. Talk through that. How did you go from being an entrepreneur yourself, teaching entrepreneurship classes? There's not a direct line between that and nonprofit executive. How did you get there? Because I bet that's a good story.
Actually, I think it is a direct line. The reason why is because one, what the commonality amongst it all is service. That's the first piece that keeps all of that connected.
That makes
service.
sense. Yeah.
The second thing, when you talk about it from a business perspective, I'm a strong believer that nonprofits have to be ran as businesses also.
Correct.
You have to be fiscally responsible.
That's right.
You have to have a strong budget. You have to have income coming in just like you would in a for-profit business in order to strengthen yourself, to have programs to service the community. So for me, it is quite aligned in how I ran my for-profit business and how I run nonprofit business, because you, in a certain sense, you have to run it like a business. You really do. In order for you to be strong and fiscally, financially strong, so that you can service more people, so that you can improve your programs and those types of things. You really have to run it like a business. You have to look at the books. You have to make sure that you're not running in the red all the time, because if you are, then that means there's less nonprofits we can service and support.
That's right.
So for me, it actually does have a connection between running a business as a for-profit and then running a nonprofit. To me, it actually does. And for me personally, it's that service piece that connects it all. So does that answer it a little bit?
It totally makes sense.
So it seems like it's on two different spectrums.
I figured you were going to have an answer like that. And it was like, I just want to see what she says about this, because I mean, I totally agree.
I run it like a business. I do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you set goals more than 3 digits?
I set goals.
Yeah.
I am. I'm a big goal setter, and I'm a very strategic person.
Mm-hmm.
So what's super cool is that we're actually in the stage of strategic planning for for Volunteer McKinney right now, which is awesome. And even with that, I approach it as a business. The same way I did strategic planning for my own corporation is very similar to how I approach strategic planning for Volunteer McKinney. Is where do we want to be? Let's set the overall tone. First of all, look at our mission. And let's look at the 2 pillars of our mission: volunteerism and education and training, to help support our nonprofits and to strengthen them in the community. And so for strategic planning, I run it just like I would in my own business: is where do we want to be? Where are we today? Where do we want to be? And then let's put those strategic steps in place in order to get there. And so that's the same way I would want to run my for-profit business is very similar to that. So to me, there's a lot of commonality there.
Cool.
Because it's a matter of service, and then it's also a matter of running it financially and responsibly like a business, but not losing sight of the fact that at the end of the day, in the beginning of the day, we serve. Yeah. So yeah.
Fred, do you have any other questions for Stephanie before we switch to the VM side of things?
No, I was just fascinated that I was like, man, it's kind of like one size fits all, but it's not. Mm-hmm. Your approach is the same. Mm-hmm. You said regardless, but once you get in there, it's not like you can just plug things in, but there are certain things, check boxes that must be hit.
Yeah.
And, I think that's brilliant. And I think that's great wisdom for anybody, regardless of if you're, like I said, volunteer or in a business. Because I know you and I, we have to have things in place. And
we have to have everything.
Got some things in place, and I'm like, that's genius. That you would take that approach, but still not lose the human factor.
Absolutely not. It's that human factor that the reason why we're there. But see, and that's the thing too that's very important to distinguish is we are there to serve. It is that human component, that human factor. We are there to serve. But my golly, we cannot serve if we are weak inside as an organization, right? So that's where the importance is. Okay, internally, we have to run it like a business and be strong because our nonprofits depend on us. And if we're not running our internals the way we need to, we're not going to last. So,
could you ask for a better segue?
I mean, I have, because I'm sitting here thinking of the 3 of us, 3 individuals, all entrepreneurially minded, and it's very interesting to me because we're 3 completely different kinds of entrepreneur.
Yeah.
That's right.
I really admire what Fred gets to do, and I'm kind of jealous to an extent because Fred and Elizabeth, they're the whole company.
That's right.
Fred doesn't have any actual employees because he's a creative professional.
That's right.
And he's able to do whatever he pleases. As long as him and Elizabeth are in agreement on it, they're going to do it.
Yeah.
Right.
Whereas
we make more than 3 figures at the end of the year.
Hopefully. But I mean, Fred's entire product is of a creative nature.
Right.
It's pictures, it's video.
Right.
And I mean, I'm in the commercial insurance and risk management world, and I have 11 employees. Yeah. I have 11 families that I'm responsible for, and my decisions as a leader have tremendous impact.
That's right.
But then you come at it from a completely different perspective because you go from being the key decision maker, being in charge, now you are leading an organization as executive director, but now you have a board that you answer to.
At the pleasure of the board.
And you serve at the pleasure of the board.
100%.
A board that are all civic volunteers. Like these people are giving of their time to help lead and direct the organization. Yeah. So you have a completely new kind of nuance to what you have to navigate as a leader because you have basically 3 different buckets of stakeholders.
Yeah.
You have the people that are receiving the benefit of the volunteers that you guys help organize, which we'll get to in just a second, don't you worry. You have the volunteers themselves, the people that are coming to Volunteer McKinney and saying, hey, I want to serve. Help me find a place to serve. But then you also have your board.
That's right.
That 3rd bucket of stakeholders that at the end of the day actually have the final say on making the decision for the organization. But they handed you the football and said, here, we want you to call the plays. You've got the headset on the sidelines of the game. So you're the head coach, but they're like the president and GM and owner of the team or whatever, if you want to use a football analogy.
That's That's right.
It's talk about that for a second, because you have different implications for those three different buckets of stakeholders. How do you keep it all straight? And I know you're brand new in the role, so I don't expect you to have it all figured out yet, but your responsibilities to the end user, the volunteer, and the board, you have different responsibilities to all three of those sets of stakeholders.
Yeah.
How do you make sense of it all? What's your philosophy there?
Great question. That's a really good question. Okay, so when it comes to the board, first of all, our board is absolutely amazing. Like, oh boy. So I started a couple weeks ago, and I tell you, the board, first of all, we have a very active board. So they are all hands on. They're not just a governing board. Like, they really are involved in the day to day. So that's been very helpful. I think what helps me is that I also serve on boards. And so I understand the difference between the responsibilities of a board to govern and set the tone for an organization. And I also understand and have a great deal of respect for the executive director or whatever that leadership person is to execute the will of the board. I know my role. And so that helps. The previous experience. So I served in many boards. One that I currently serve on is with the state of Texas, where I serve on the appraisal board for the state of Texas for that agency. And so bringing in that type of experience where I am responsible in that board position to make the rules and and participate in the law and the legislation of the state of Texas as a board member, I know the responsibility we have at that level. And then I also know the responsibility of my staff of that agency, the commissioner and so forth of the agency, that they are there to implement what the board sets. So coming in from that experience, I know my role at Volunteer McKinney. I am the executor of what the will of the board is. The board sets the tone. The board, I have my input, of course, but at the end of the day, it is the board that determines what Volunteer McKinney looks like today and for the future. And so once they decide amongst themselves with my recommendations on certain areas of where we need to go as an organization, it is my job to execute. I give them my recommendations. I do my due diligence, and I can say, okay, well, this is my opinion. But at the end of the day, it's the board's decision, and I know my place. As an executive director, it is my role to execute the will of the board. And so that is a very easy thing for me because I already know my role going in, right?
Yeah.
So I understand that is the job. That is the job. And then, and until the board feels like, well, maybe we want to go in a different direction. But so I'm okay with that. And you're right. That is very different from running the business as a CEO, co-founder, or founder of your own business, right? Because you are it. Like
you are the board.
You are the board.
Yeah.
The buck stops there. Like your leadership, that is it.
Yep.
But in a nonprofit situation or in a state agency or whatever, I know my role as executive director. I am not the board. And so I know that my role is to execute the will of the board. And so I'm okay with that. I accept that, and I'm pleased with that. It's a little relief because I'm not the one having to set all of the tone. But no, so I know my role. So that makes it a lot easier for me.
Okay. Take your ED hat off for a second. Put your cheerleader hat on for a second. Tell us about Volunteer McKinney, because a lot of folks out there in listener land don't know what the organization is, don't know why it exists, don't know the purpose of the mission, any of that. Go ahead and be that cheerleader for VM. Tell us all about it. Okay.
So I'll be quite honest with you. I'm just like a lot of people in McKinney. Before the research and before really following this position, I've been in McKinney 20 plus years. Same thing. I've heard of Volunteer McKinney, but it's like, what do we really do? What do we really do, right?
Yeah.
Getting in there and doing the research before I started the position, what I realized that we've got a sweet spot. We really do. We've got something special. Thing is about Volunteer McKinney is, as you all know, but a lot of people may not, we have the two pillars in our mission. Volunteerism, connecting volunteers with nonprofits so that nonprofits can do what they need to do. The second pillar is education and training. Those two pillars of our organization are critical to continuing to strengthen the nonprofits here in McKinney. We are able to help them do their mission in McKinney by giving them the staff and volunteers they need. But not only that, the education and training piece, which I think maybe sometimes people forget a little bit about, that's critical for an ED taking on. So for nonprofits in McKinney, if you have an ED taking on that role, and let's say they may not be strong in financial management, or they may not be as strong in fund development, those types of things, we have a very unique opportunity with Volunteer McKinney to equip them with the knowledge and the skills that they need in order to make their organization strong. The stronger we can help them make their organizations, the more people in our city they can service. And that is so cool. To me, that is what makes us so different from just another nonprofit in McKinney, right? We all have our roles as nonprofits, but what our sweet sauce, our secret sauce, it's not really secret.
Sweet sauce. Okay.
I like sweet
secret sauce,
too.
Sweet spot. Yeah,
I think I'm hungry. What time is it? I may just be hungry for lunch, but no. I'm just teasing.
It's almost 11.
Okay. No, I'm just teasing. But that, I think, is our unique piece that we bring to our city, is that we are here to strengthen the nonprofit so that they can do what they do.
Yep.
We are here, and it's really cool how it aligns also, I think, with my education background and teaching as an adjunct and all of those things, because that education and training piece, we're basically building entrepreneurs there, right?
Yep.
We're basically building EDs. They are the CEOs. They are the entrepreneurs of that organization in a lot of cases. They have a board to report to, but it's also their role to do a good job in building that nonprofit.
Yep.
And so I love the fact that Volunteer McKinney is so unique that we provide that service. And that is a service that is not really provided by anyone else in our area to that extent, to where we can equip nonprofits, not just by bringing them volunteers, which is critical to their mission, but education, training, and making them solid on how to run a great nonprofit so that they can then reach even more people. So that's our sweet spot. I think that is the piece that we must communicate very clearly to our stakeholders, our volunteers, our nonprofits, our donors, our sponsors. We must be very clear of what makes us different. And that is what makes us different, is that we are to strengthen them so that they can continue to serve.
Fred, did you know about the education piece?
No.
I didn't either.
Man, that's what I'm saying.
I just learned.
It's awesome.
Because
awesome.
That's something I could really get behind. I had no idea that was one of the pillars.
And I'm just signing you up as a speaker because both of you are entrepreneurs. So I know you have something to add.
All joking aside, I would be honored.
Absolutely.
Oh, thank you. I'm gonna take you up on that.
Seriously though, like I don't know if you knew this or not. Per capita, McKinney has more 501c3 organizations than any other municipality,
I believe it,
in the country.
Wow, in the country.
You do it like by population.
Yep.
The number of population divided by the number of registered 501c3s. The data is a couple of years old, and we may not still be, but last I saw, McKinney was the biggest
in the nation.
nonprofit sector for a city of our size.
Wow.
Because
that's
there
amazing.
are literally hundreds of registered nonprofits in McKinney.
Yeah,
hundreds.
I believe it. But you know what's cool about that is that, one, it shows the heart of our city to serve. That's first thing.
Yeah.
When you see things like that, it's pretty cool because we are a city that serves, and that is special. But with that information also, you have to realize collaboration and working together is critical, so that we are not overlapping, but instead we're being more efficient in how we work together as partners to get the mission done. So that's a great thing because it shows that we can serve and that people in McKinney, that's where their heart is. But I think the opportunity is that we continue to network, keep these people connected so that they can partner together.
Have you met with Daryl and Jill Barnes?
I have not met with them personally, but I know our board has, and our committee has been working very closely with them, but I haven't met them personally just yet.
You and Daryl will get along just fine.
I think we have a meeting that our committee is trying to schedule so that I can get a chance to
because
meet
that
with them.
Collaboration, that preventing overlapping, driving efficiencies and whatnot. Daryl and Jill are all about that. They formed a nonprofit called Gather's Vision that exists solely to make sure that there's collaboration and more effective communication between nonprofits. Because, I mean, it just bugs me sometimes. I'm like, why are you starting a new one?
I hear that a lot.
Why are you starting a new one? Did you not know that there's already 4 of you? There's 4 other nonprofits that do something very similar to what you're. Right. I know you want to be the person, but why don't you just jump on with somebody else and put your talents and effort into an existing organization and make it stronger? Because at the end of the day, it's all about the mission, right?
It absolutely is.
It's all about the constituent that's going to receive the desired outcome from the work being performed.
Yeah. So, and I'll tell you just, I'm sorry to interrupt you there. Go ahead. I was just going to go back to Daryl. What I do know, I haven't met him personally, but what I do know is they have been an incredible supporter of Volunteer McKinney.
Yep.
The time, the locations that the space that they've given us.
Yep.
Incredible opportunity, Volunteer McKinney supporters. So they are on my list to meet, but yes, they have been great. But to talk about the collaboration piece, yes, there's 4 of you out there. How powerful can you be if you come together and hit it hard on one mission, one accord, and get that mission done? So no, I agree with you. Absolutely. That is something that we need to continue to work on.
So what you're saying is you offer mediation services between all the chiefs.
Yes, that's going to be my other hat, is that I'm the mediator.
If there's one thing I know is people are passionate. They are passionate about their purpose, about their mission, about their cause. And lots of times that becomes blinding or a blockade to teamwork.
It does.
So, that's, and when I think about, those numbers, because I remember we had someone come in here, and was it Allison who shared the fact that we have more 501c3s.
I heard it from her first, actually. Yeah. And I looked it up and was like, well, I'll be darned. That's it is. And this, I think it was 2022 data was the last that I saw. But it was like, God, I mean, I feel it because there's a lot of nonprofits in McKinney. And it is. And I think it's challenging as a business person because we're not there yet, but we will be starting the RiskWell Foundation at some point in the next couple of years. And the only thing the foundation is going to do is raise money for the nonprofits that we support. Like, we're not going to be our own nonprofit. Right. We don't have our own activities. Right. All we're doing is supporting and raising money for the foundation. It is a foundation, 100%. Yeah. But when I heard it was like, oh, that's not necessarily a good thing. Yeah. Because dilution of donor dollars, 100%. Of volunteer hours,
100%.
The fatigue, the request fatigue is a real problem.
It is.
Because, I mean, you can only sponsor so many charity golf tournaments.
That's right.
Before you're like, I'm sorry, we're all out of sponsorships for charity golf tournaments.
That's right.
We've done it 4 times this year, or whatever it happens to be. Yeah. Like, it's not necessarily a good thing that there's that many. What it really just comes back to, and I could see everything you're saying, so we totally agree. It's like, okay, but are we being maximally effective with the mission? Because that, at the end of the day, if you have half as many nonprofits, but the collective sum total of the output and the outcomes is increased, well, okay, cool. Well, let's shutter half of these nonprofits and pool our resources a little bit differently. And I'm not saying that you out there in listener land, your nonprofit with you and one other volunteer. I'm not saying you need to stop. I'm just saying maybe you need to stop. Yeah. Maybe you need to close it down and put your efforts with another organization that's on the same path that you're on. I don't know. It's not up to us to tell people what to do, obviously. I just think that message probably needs to be put out there of, hey, don't start a new nonprofit without first taking a look at the existing landscape and figure out, hey, this cause that I'm passionate about, is there someone else already doing that right here in my city? Well, if there is, don't start a new nonprofit. Align your effort with theirs. Let's go, baby.
Yeah. That's right. I love that perspective, and I love that you brought that up, and even for the listeners to hear that. Because what some listeners may want to think about is funding for nonprofits is always a challenge, right?
Yep.
Everyone's always looking for funding, and funding's so limited. Let's think about out there in listener land, how much more successful you could be if you didn't have 1 million people competing for the same pot of money, but instead a smaller number of people getting that money where you can still align your services to help do what you need to do, right?
Yep.
So that funding is a big piece of that. So when you have so many nonprofits out there going after the same pot of money, it's hard.
Yep.
So yeah, it's important to align. It's important to bring those things together. And it's funny too, because some people who are entrepreneurial minded think, I can do this better. I'm the best. You guys are business
that's
owners,
what I'm
right?
saying. You need
and
some
it's
mediation here.
Oh man, I'm the best at what I do. Of course, I'm gonna launch this business because I am the best out there, right? I mean, a lot of times we're entrepreneurial. We think that. But we need to take a step back, especially in the nonprofit sector, and realize at the end of the day, it is not about us.
Yep.
It's not about our own egos. It's not about us trying to put our name as an ED or a founder, or it's really not. In the nonprofit arena, my hope is at the heart is to simply serve the mission.
Yep.
And if that means serving it under the leadership of someone else, that's cool, as long as at the end of the day, the mission's being accomplished, right? So I'm glad you brought that up. That's an excellent point, especially here in McKinney when we are heavily saturated.
We got a lot.
Yeah, that's a great point.
But you know what, though, James, you
point.
make a great point about having, I guess we'll call it, donor fatigue.
Yeah.
It's a thing.
Fatigue.
It is a thing. Yeah.
As you so succinctly put it earlier, Elizabeth and I, we are the company. And so where, I've never had the idea of creating a fund or a foundation. I just think, man, you know what? I've got two hands that work and I've got camera gear that works. Yeah. And so when people approach me, like I don't know how many galas I've done this year or over the last, since we moved here. But every time someone says, hey, we've got this thing that's benefiting the children or, displaced families or, abused women or any of those things, I'm like, my answer is always, let's go. Yeah. If there's space in the calendar, we go and do it. Right. And even though I'll do 3 and 4 fundraiser galas that all kind of are around the same thing, I'll see completely different faces. And I'm thinking, well, you weren't at the last one. You're probably not going to be the next one. So I'm thinking, how these people are advertising, how they're reaching their masses, and the number of golf tournaments that I photographed, wildly popular. But
I enjoy golf. I enjoy playing. I attempt to be good. I'm not good. I'm a 23 handicap. It's not good. But I mean, at a certain point, even I, as a golfer, am like, do we really need 17 charity golf tournaments this spring?
Yes.
Because I'm like, I'm very active. Or normally, not in the last couple of months, but normally very active in the Chamber of Commerce. And man, oh man, certain times of the year, it's like, our golf tournament's coming up. Our golf tournament's coming up. Our golf tournament's. I was like, oh my gosh.
Yes.
That is true.
It's like from March to May. It's like, good Lord, how many dang golf tournaments y'all gonna have?
That's right.
Yeah, but they have 2 rounds of shotgun starts. They don't have enough carts. All these things. And I'm just like, man, we could have a golf tournament every day of the week. Who knows how much, individually those raise. But I'm totally on board if they could just have one big cumulative event, because I know that one thing's for sure, and this was through the North Texas Food Bank. It's one thing for me to go buy, a couple of cans of food and put them in the collection basket somewhere, but sending the North Texas Food Bank money, they have such purchase power that they can do way more collectively than I can individually. And so,
Stephanie, as we wrap up the episode, I think from what I'm hearing from you, the call to action is really twofold for listener land out there.
Yes.
It is, one, if you're not already volunteering, I'll look right at the camera. If you're not already volunteering somewhere, folks, figure out somewhere to put your effort.
What's wrong with you?
Because I wasn't going to go there. I was not going to go there.
We're going to keep it real today.
No, it's like every single person out there has a cause that is important to them.
That's right.
Whether it's kids or disadvantaged or some particular thing. There is a cause for every single person to get behind with your time, with your energy, with your talent. It's not just about writing a check.
That's right.
If there's something that you care about, be about it. And I say that for myself as well, because we realized most recent quarterly meeting for our team here at RiskWell, we are not engaging with our community in a volunteer philanthropic way. So beginning in our next quarterly meeting that week, we're going to have a volunteer service activity where we're going to spend at least a couple of hours as a team collectively volunteering for some McKinney nonprofit. I haven't identified what that is yet, but once a quarter, moving forward, our company is going to close its doors for at least half a day, maybe a full day, who knows? And we're going to, as a team, give our time and our energy towards something, because we've been open in McKinney for 6.5 years.
Wow.
And we've never structurally, intentionally volunteered for anything as a company.
Don't forget, Make a Difference Day is coming up October 3rd through 4th. So we would love to sign you up for that. Okay, that's my plug. I'm sorry.
Yeah, but hey, you're on a podcast. You can plug to your heart's content.
I'm sorry, but it just sounds like such a good fit.
Yeah.
But no, that's a great initiative. I love that you guys are doing that. I mean, that's awesome.
But the thing is, for the last 6.5 years, we've done nothing as a company. Individually, we're active in our church. We serve in other ways and whatnot.
Right.
But as a company, we haven't done anything structural, intentional. And that's changing, because
I love that.
the larger our company gets, the more effective we can be at organizing effort.
Right.
So as we wrap this thing up, any call to action, anything you want to share with our listeners and the folks watching on YouTube? And then Fred's going to hit you with that final fun question.
Oh, I like fun questions. Okay, so leading, actually, very good from what you just said. Leading, just kind of piggyback on that. The call to action is just what you said. Having organizations, I think, is critical. Businesses, bringing people together on their own team to say, how can we collectively make a difference and give our time? Not only is that a good thing to do for the community, how about it also improves internal culture of that business? Because they understand we are not just a business about making money and making sales. We're a business of making change in our community. So I appreciate you taking the initiative as an entrepreneur yourself to have your team do something like that. And so I would say the same thing for other corporations out there in the city.
Your camera's right there.
Oh, hi. I'm looking at like all these cameras.
Yeah, that's my camera. That's Fred's camera.
Okay,
that's
that makes
your
sense
camera right
to
there.
have a camera in front. Hi, guys. No,
Here.
but I would.
Here you go.
Oh, my goodness. That's a close-up. I don't know about that. I'm just teasing. No, the call to action, I would say, is just what you mentioned. I encourage other corporations in the city of McKinney to do just what was suggested. Bring your teams together. See how you can serve as a team, as an organization within your company. We do have October 3rd and 4th coming up, Make a Difference Day, which is an opportunity for people to do just that. Come in as groups and serve different nonprofits throughout our city. And so that would be a great call to action. The other call to action, as an ED, I'm going to say we all need support. So if you want to donate, if you want to support our organization, understand that we are not looking for money just for the sake of money. We're looking for supporters, sponsors, donors in order to strengthen our organization so that we can continue to provide free education, free training, free connections to our nonprofits. That is the goal, is we want to continue to provide these resources to strengthen them all for free to the best of our ability. So to do that, we are looking for sponsors for that. So that would be my call to action. 1, get out there and volunteer and connect with us if you need assistance in seeing where to volunteer. Do it collectively as a group, as a corporation. I think that's a great idea. And then if you're able to support or sponsor any of our events coming up, we would love to have you. Feel free to reach out to me directly. Happy to get that coordinated.
And we'll put all of your stuff in the show notes and the description and whatnot.
Thank you.
And
hang on.
What's the fun question? I want a fun question.
We got to warm you up with a little bit. You are so smooth the way you're able to deliver these things.
you.
But now we're going to throw you off a little bit.
Man.
Lightning round.
I'm not good at
lightning
that.
round.
I'm not good at
no
that.
right answer, no wrong answer. All right, here we go. Just a couple questions.
Okay, I'm ready.
Coffee or tea?
Coffee. Oh, man, that's easy.
All right.
I'm a coffee drinker all day long.
Beach or mountains?
Total beach. I like to sleep. I sleep at a beach.
Okay.
If I can.
All
When
right.
I can.
Mavs or Oklahoma City?
What was the question?
Mavs
Like
or
as
Thunder.
in basketball?
Yes.
Mavericks or Thunder?
or the Thunder?
Do I have to pick?
Yeah.
I'm not a
lightning
sports person.
She's not a sports person.
Okay, I'm going to say Oklahoma because I'm an Oklahoma girl. So,
All right. Okay. And then
Here we go.
who would win
Ooh.
Yep.
in a fight
Okay.
to the death
Ooh, to the death.
between a great white shark and a polar bear?
A big old 12-foot tall polar bear.
Big old polar bear, big old shark in a body of water 6 feet deep of infinite dimensions. There are no shoreline, no shallow end of the pool, none of that. Great white shark, polar bear. Who wins?
Polar bear's going down, man. You're fighting in the water. You're fighting in their territory. Polar bear's going down.
So shark.
The Sharks
Team
got
Shark.
it.
There it is.
Team Shark. If you say who's going to win on land, the shark's going to die. But I think if we're talking on the shark's territory, the shark's got them beat.
So hang on, keep that going though. So related to the beach versus the mountains, you'll sleep on the beach
any day.
You go into the water?
I do, as long as it's in the Caribbean and it's warm. But if it's cold, I'm not touching it. But I'll still sleep by it.
Oh, man.
I love that. I totally love that. That's so fun. Okay, that wasn't too hard. That was fun. That was fun.
No wrong answer.
Okay, so I got to ask. So do you ask the polar bear shark question?
Every episode.
Time.
Okay, what's the winner? Who's the winner? Like, what's the percentage?
Polar bear is probably 60% right now, but there's a lot of people on Team Shark.
No.
Yeah, we've had a streak.
Because you know what it usually comes up
Yeah.
to? Because the polar bear can still stand up in 6 feet of water, and the polar bear has four claws and a
teeth.
mouth. So, yeah. I made it.
So that shark's got to bite him and then drag him into the deep part of the water.
Well, it's 6 feet. It's
or
6
just
feet. It's
or
6
just
feet everywhere.
or just bite him and let him die.
Yeah.
Sorry, moms and vans that are traumatizing your kids now.
For the kids who are tuning
Mommy,
in.
why is the shark biting the polar bear? What? Why are they mad at each other? Don't worry about
it. This actually doesn't happen, guys.
Are we going to the beach? There are sharks there.
No. Okay,
yeah.
kiddos, you still go to the beach. You have a great time.
The beach is a safe place. Don't worry about it.
It is a safe place.
Sunscreen.
Yes.
Wear sunscreen.
Yes. But yes.
Okay.
That is so fun. I love
we
that.
got it. We had another interview right now. She is Dr. Stephanie Robinson, Executive Director of Volunteer McKinney. Folks, if you want to jump in, go to the show notes, go to the description on the YouTube video, and connect with Volunteer McKinney. And that's really it for this episode. We need to have you back sometime. I love your energy.
It would be my pleasure. You're
that's fantastic.
Awesome. Thank you,
folks. This has been another episode of the McKinney Podcast. We celebrate what makes us unique by nature. Y'all take care.